Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Welcome to Saturday morning. We have officially stepped into the weekend. I hope you've been able to reach all your goals for this week. And if you haven't, perhaps there's still a little bit of time left for you to nail down some of those goals. Our teacher for this week is Cohen. I really enjoy his work. I often say this of our meditation teachers. It is worth doing a search for Cohen and just seeing what of his work is out there. If you want a very quick overview of his work, just search for Cohen quotes, and you'll find many of the quotes that I've already shared with you this week. Somebody, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Right, the title of today's message is, How Free Will You Be When Nothing Around You Can Trigger You Anymore? Take a moment to ask yourself that question. How free will you be when nothing around you can trigger you anymore? Lots of wise teachers in the past, and what comes to my mind is Viktor Frankl, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, spoke of this kind of freedom as the only freedom any of us really have, is the freedom to not be triggered about anything that happens around us. Hey Anthony, a very good morning, man. Let's get into it. Can you imagine a life where nothing, no event, no word, no action could control your emotions? Imagine being the sole architect of your inner world, unshakable in the face of external chaos. This is the ultimate freedom, and the path to it lies in understanding and mastering your triggers. Cohen says, nothing in the outer world makes you feel any way. You decide what you want to feel, and then use other people and events as permission slips to execute your feeling agenda. Your feelings, says Cohen, comes down to you choosing how you want to respond or react. Antoinette, good morning. Happy Saturday morning to you. Your triggers are all inside of you. Nothing and no one in the world can trigger you unless you already have that trigger built into you. It's the responsibility of each of us to work with and work through our triggers. It's not the responsibility of the world to be less triggering. Just think how free you'll be when nothing in the world, nothing around you can ever trigger you anymore. Cohen says, when faced with demanding situations, can you keep your heart as light as a feather? Can you laugh your way through challenges and maintain an attitude freer than fear? When confronted with upsets and the poisonous projections of others, can you remember that all is well? Do you know that you are a spiritual being, not subject to the whims and caprices of earthly tides? Acts that proceed from your calm center are always more effective than acts that proceed from fear, guilt, or anger. Good morning, Anami. Happy Saturday to you. Cultivating inner peace in the face of adversity is the hallmark of a truly empowered individual. When we react from a place of calm, clear-headedness, our actions become far more effective. This journey towards becoming untriggerable begins with self-awareness. Mindfulness practices like today's meditation, come to your senses, are valuable tools for developing this inner sanctuary. In the same way that we are able to sit and calmly observe the experience that each of our outer senses provide us, we are also able to develop the ability to calmly be the witness to our inner senses. By observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we begin to understand their triggers and ultimately rewrite our feeling agenda, as Cohen calls it. And I feel like I have to have to make it clear that being completely untriggerable is a very honorable goal, but the steps never go from A to Z. We never go from being triggered to suddenly never being triggered. It takes the process of becoming the witness to your triggers, seeing, feeling with a step removed how you become triggered and start reacting, and realizing that it probably won't disappear in an instant, and your first step is to be kind to this human who struggles to not be triggered. And that kindness slowly leads to being less and less triggered. If you're ready, let's float away together. You can close your eyes and we'll start with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in. And let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, slowly let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. Our journey today is a check-in with this body. And we'll start that right now. With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to your forehead, to the space between your eyes. Do you sometimes find yourself carrying a frown there? And in this moment, are you able to completely soften? With your next exhale, as your body softens, bring your attention to the space in and around your mouth. Do you perhaps sometimes find that you grind your teeth, or that your tongue is pressed hard against the roof of your mouth, or that your jaw muscles are clenched tight. And then you become aware and conscious of softening there. With your next exhale, bring your attention to your neck and shoulders. Do you perhaps sometimes find your shoulders pulled up tight and high? And do you then roll them out for a few moments, breathing deeply, reminding yourself that it's okay to soften? With your next exhale, bring your attention to your stomach area. The area where tension hides the most effectively. Your abdominal muscles. It is so easy to walk around carrying tension there for years without realizing. Right now, make sure your abs are completely relaxed. With your next exhale, bring your attention to your butt cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching. Make sure you are completely softened. And then lastly, bring your attention to your legs and your arms, and in particular your hands. Clenched hands and tight fists often carry tension unconsciously as well. For now, make sure your hands are loose, half open, lying in your lap. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies further soften, adjust, relax. Take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left. And forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. You can lean your upper body over to the left and also lean your upper body over to the right. Find where the edges of your back muscles are and very gently lean into those edges. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as much as we are able to do that, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slips in and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. And feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath, but hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, seeing as though everything about our meditation today is about checking in with this body, why not have a quick conversation with this body? As you take a deep breath, as you dive deep inside, perhaps even wrap your arms around this body and say, "Hello, body. It really is good to have you." Take your next big breath. Our journey of the senses starts at the top and works its way through our bodies. Our first stop is your eyes. For this exercise, we keep our eyes closed. And the question is, if you were to open your eyes, what would be the most obvious thing that you would see in the room that you are in? So as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, study this obvious thing. See it from all of its angles, see all of its color, and find all of its texture. Your mind is likely to wander. And if it does, the only work is to catch your mind wandering and return it again to observing this obvious object that is in your room. Take your next big breath. And then we change gears. We're still staying with what you can see, but this time, as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, find what would be the least obvious object in the room that you are in. It might take a moment for you to search with your eyes closed and go, "Oh yes, that's something hidden over there." As you take your next big breath and dive deep inside, study this less obvious object. Find all of its color, see all of its texture. Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to be the observer of the experience your eyes give you. Could you become better at being the same observer with your thoughts? Take a moment to take a step back and watch thoughts in the same way, just to see what is there. We're taking another step down on today's journey, though, to your ears and what you can hear. So with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to the most obvious sound that you can hear. And see if you can hear the whole range of frequencies in that sound, all of the different vibrations. It's possible that your mind might wander. And if you catch your mind wandering, simply return it to paying attention to what you can hear. Take your next big breath. Then we'll change gears, and with your next big breath as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to the faintest sound that you can hear. Search around for something that's barely more than a whisper. See if you can find it. Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to be the observer of the experience that your ears provide. Could you also become an observer of the experience that your feelings provide? By taking a step back and simply allowing what is felt to be felt. Can you become the calm witness to that too? We'll take another step down to your nose, and for the next two stops, for your nose and your mouth, change your breathing to whatever it is that you need in order to smell and to taste. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, see if you can find any obvious smell. It's possible that your mind will wander. Your job only is to catch your mind wandering and return it to the point of focus. An obvious smell. Take your next big breath. And then we'll change gears. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, see if you can find any other smell. Can you pick up anything besides the first obvious smell? Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to be the observer of the experience that your nose provides. Could you also become, with more ease, the witness to your feelings? Can you have a similar practice of sitting and taking a look at feelings? We'll take another step down on today's journey to your mouth and what you can taste. So with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, bring your attention to whatever obvious taste you can find right now. Take your next big breath. And then we'll change gears with your next big breath. As you dive deep into you, can you find any other taste at all? Anything besides the first obvious taste? Take your next big breath. Notice the ease with which you are able to just be the witness to the experience that your mouth gives you. The experience that all of your outer senses give you of the world around you. Can you also find more ease in being the witness to your inner senses? To the experiences in your inner world? Can you find yourself be triggered and then take a step back and say, this is interesting. Let me watch and see what happens. Let me understand how this feels before I act. I can always act a little bit later. But first, can I just be the witness? We have one last stop, the surface of your skin. So as you take a deep breath and dive deep into you, scan the surface of your skin and where do you find the most obvious sensation, the most obvious pressure on your skin. And describe to yourself all the different sensations and pressures you feel there. Your mind could wander, and then your work is simply to catch your mind wandering and return it to the point of focus. Take your next big breath. We'll change gears one more time and find on the surface of your skin an area with the slightest sensation. Somewhere you can barely just feel something like fabric resting against your skin or the air touching your forehead or your cheek. Take your next big breath. We'll take just one more big breath together to slip out of the breath-holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. And I'll read to you again today's thoughts by Cohen. He says, "Nothing in the outer world makes you feel any way. You decide what you want to feel, and then use other people and events as permission slips to execute your feeling agenda. When faced with demanding situations, can you keep your heart as light as a feather? Can you laugh your way through challenges and maintain an attitude freer than fear? When confronted with upsets and the poisonous projections of others, can you remember that all is well? Do you know that you are a spiritual being, not subject to the whims and caprices of earthly tides? Acts that proceed from your calm center are always more effective than acts that proceed from fear, guilt, or anger. The truth is, your triggers are all inside of you. Nothing and no one in the world can trigger you unless you already own that trigger within you. It's the responsibility of each of us to work with and work through our triggers. It's not the responsibility of the world to be less triggering. Just think how free you will be when nothing around you can trigger you anymore. And just like in the beginning, I feel like I have to add, it is a journey. We don't go from A, being very triggered, to Z, no triggering at all. It is a journey of small steps. Of first, becoming very friendly with the triggers. Becoming very friendly and kind with this human being who sometimes gets triggered. And then learning that just like with our outer senses, we can actually be triggered and just watch, not act. We can observe everything that's happening inside of us while we are triggered, and still we don't need to act it out. We can have a conversation with this human that feels all of these things and be kind. And the better we get at being the observer of what happens in our inner world, the softer the experience becomes. And then just imagine how free you will be when nothing in the world around you can trigger you anymore. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thanks to every one of you for being on this journey with us, becoming slowly freer of the things that used to trigger us. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to sit with my inner senses with the same ease I can sit with my outer senses. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to be really kind with myself in moments where perhaps I wasn't as present as I could have been, and a trigger caused me to act faster than I could think. Thank you for being kind to myself in those moments, and understanding that it is the kindness that softens everything and makes it easier to next time be less reactive. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for being on our journey today. Hey, Stephen, a very good morning to you. Happy Saturday. Annalie, a very good morning. Happy Saturday to you as well. It's so awesome seeing you live with us. Hello. And Ingo, thank you for popping in, dude. I hope you have a bit of time to sit down with us. Have a beautiful day. Please remember that the baby steps of our journeys need kindness. Need kindness towards ourselves, because we tend to not make the change with the first little step. The things we try and do better at, they take a lot of repetition. Thank you, Sunmari. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anami. Thank you, Antoinette. Have a beautiful day. Have a great weekend. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.